Hi everyone, this is Nareen's Life with MS and I am Nareen and welcome to Friday Findings. So like I've already mentioned before, this is one of my favorite things to do where I actually do just a little bit of, news searches on multiple sclerosis to see what has happened or what are some new findings that were released maybe in the very recent past about multiple sclerosis or something related to multiple sclerosis. And today I have two very interesting articles which both talk about different types of, different things related to multiple sclerosis. And besides that, also, we have the ability to see, um, you know, ways to, how certain things can actually impact, the severity of multiple sclerosis in patients. And then the other one about how multiple sclerosis can actually have different types, just dealing with, you know, presence of certain proteins that are within our bodies. So, to start off, get on with I will get on with a new. There have been two subtypes of MS that have been found, and this has been pretty much achieved through uh, linking blood tests, MRI tests with, of course, artificial intelligence to pretty much come up with this new protein that might actually cause, different MS patients to have, different speeds of progression of, their disease. And this protein is SNFL. So, depending on the SNFL um, present in the body, and of course the different readouts that come with the blood tests and the MRIs, it results in either a fast progressing, a more what you can actually call a more aggressive form of MS versus a slower progressing MS. So a SNFL, which is generally very high, will actually cause the MS to actually work on the corpus callosum of the brain area, where and it's in the corpus callosum where, a lot of the a lot of the demyelination will happen, and this would be a much more aggressive form of MS, whereas a late onset increase in SNFL numbers would generally mean that there are other parts, usually the deep gray matter, that is actually impacted first. Of course, I will link the story to this article in the description section, so you can definitely check it out, read up on it, just to understand or even gauge, that if you are, multiple sclerosis patient, with which side you might actually fall on, right? Whether you have more the aggressive form of MS versus, the slower progression of MS. Now, of course, this would be, while it might not be the most helpful for someone like me who has, been diagnosed about 16 years back, it will definitely be very helpful for people who are more recently diagnosed. Definitely people who, are getting their diagnoses, within, the past year, past 2 years, so that their doctors can definitely decide on which treatment option is more suited to their their disease condition, because a lot of times, sure, one of the best things to do is to attack it, give it the most effective medication that is on the market. But a lot of times what ends up happening is, we sometimes forget that all of the medication that we are on does have certain side effects. And if you know us if we do have a slightly lower progressing condition, and it can definitely be arrested using a lower efficacy drug, something that is more targeted towards where you know what is actually being impacted. That would definitely help out a lot of patients, and definitely result in a lot of patients also seeing a better quality of life as a result of getting treated um, in a better fashion, right? Getting the absolute best medication or the best treatment that is more suited towards them, right? This definitely gets us more into getting personalized therapy for all of us when we when we are when we are faced with a disease, especially a lifelong disease like MS. So I do want your thoughts on, this new finding. I mean, we are not only seeing the fact that there is a lot more interconnectedness between blood tests and MRI reports, but apart from that, us with researchers and doctors and medical professionals actually incorporating AI into actually doing such level of analysis definitely makes the future look a lot more bright about getting every single patient the proper care, right? And when I think about the fact that my own doctor has hundreds of patients who have multiple sclerosis, and each one of us actually getting a slightly different or slightly varied treatment method, just because of the signals that our body is giving. It actually fills me with a lot of hope into pretty much knowing that in the future, there are going to be much better treatments that are going to be available for MS patients. And this, we are talking about world over, not just in select communities or in select places. So that is the first big news article that I did want to discuss. And I do hope that if you are interested in this, that you continue to look through this article, read through the article. You can even read the study that this article actually references, to just get a better understanding of everything that I talked about, or actually learn more in depth than what I just did, because I think I just maybe scratched the surface. Now, the second one is just about as interesting and um, as important, and that is the fact that people have found that there might actually be a correlation between people who have a gum disease, especially periodontitis, and how elevated their disability might be as a result of MS. So now there are a couple of things that lead to building this entire study. But essentially, what seems to be the case here is that periodontitis, I think I'm saying it properly, is actually a gum disease that does end up creating it is a certain bacteria that exists in the mouth. And of course, if and considering that it is related to gum disease, people who do have this gum disease have been shown to have the bacteria that is related to this gum disease actually cause a lot of inflammation in the body. And considering that you know um, the mouth ends up being the one, literally the one, like one of um, probably the biggest opening we have to the inside of our bodies. It definitely does you know create it definitely does create a huge issue if we are facing this disease, to actually know that it might actually impact the disability that RMS might actually cause. um, and this again, this does go into a lot of different details, a lot more, and it is a lot of you know there is a lot of specificity that goes into um, you know this research as well. But the main thing that I think you can get out of this is to try and keep your oral health um, as good as possible. Try to make sure that you definitely try to keep your gums, keep your teeth as healthy as possible, so that you are not worsening your health as a result of giving yourself something like periodontitis. So that is the second thing that I did want to share, and of course, I will provide the link of this as well, so that you can definitely read up on it to understand what all goes on, and how the scientists and the researchers were able to create the link between the gum disease and the worsening or the higher disability in MS. And there is also a connection that they have made, or actually lack of connection that they have made, to other demyelinating disorders that can exist, and whether the presence of this bacteria actually affects those demyelinating disorders as well. So it is a pretty interesting read, and it is definitely a very exhaustive sort of study that looks at multiple different disorders, and how a gum disease can actually impact the differences in that. So with that being said, I would definitely hope that you know if you are looking to do something good with this year, considering that it is still the second of the year, um, or the second day of the year, that you can probably make it your goal, or make it a resolution, to have a much better oral health, to make sure that you do keep your teeth, your gums clean, so that you actually lower the risk of maybe getting something like you know a raised disability in your MS, especially you know if you by any chance just decide to act lazy and don't clean your teeth and gums very well. And of course, this also gives me the motivation to probably also um, buy a replacement for my water flosser, because mine jammed a little while back. So yeah, I think after recording this video, I will definitely at least do one good thing for myself and buy another water flosser, so that I can at least make sure that I am taking that extra step in making sure that my teeth are clean. And with that said, this has been Nareen's Life with MS. My name is Nareen, and I do hope that you have a great weekend and that you're looking forward to this weekend because it's going to be the first weekend of this new year. And so I do hope that you have something epic planned. I know that, you know, considering once this weekend ends, we will pretty much be going back to work. So I do hope that you take the full advantage of this weekend being, the last sort of a sort of a memento of 2025 to pretty much ensure that you party as much as possible this weekend. Try to enjoy your life as much this weekend because then, starting on Monday, we'll be hitting the ground running. So, with that said, hope you have a great weekend. And of course, a good night, sweet dreams. And I will talk to you tomorrow. So, goodbye.